Hello, you fabulous interior design professional. Welcome to Business of Design, episode 401. And you are going to be reintroduced to someone I absolutely adore, Helen Austen. Helen is going to talk about her journey from an organizer to an interior design professional and how she's managed through appearances on television to create a new dynamic for herself and gain new clients and new recognition. So she's going to talk about how she got on TV, how you can get on TV, what works when you're talking to your ideal client and what doesn't work. And it's a lively, wonderful conversation. And as I said, one of my favorite people, Helen, you can find her at Helen and Co. Interiors on Facebook and Instagram, and her YouTube channel as well, Helen and Co. She's an interior designer and she is passionate about color and smart functionality. She has a background as a counselor. So off the top of the show, you're going to hear that I came in and I said, oh boy, it's been a decade. And she's like, tell me what's going on. And I immediately think I'm in therapy, which is hilarious. She's a former opera singer, turned organizer, turned interior designer. And I think she's found her real niche now. She spends her time, half the time in Kansas City, Missouri, and the other half of the time in Galveston Island, Texas, which is outside of Houston. She's just wonderful in every way. I know you're going to love this episode. We're so glad you're here. Let's hear what Cheryl Horn has to say.
Thanks, Kimberly. Well, I think we're all still sort of coming down from High Point Market and celebrating 20 years of Business of Design. It was an amazing experience. I have, been talking to designers around the world for, as of this week, as of 17 years of the 20 years that Kimberly has been doing this. And it was really great to see designers in person. I know from experience and your experience that the systems we teach transform businesses, they transform lives. And to have the opportunity to see designers in person when they had the opportunity to thank Kimberly, the looks on their faces, it was incredible. If you've been listening to the podcast for a really long time, if you haven't become a member, if you joined membership and didn't take the time to do it, and left after a couple of months, you're missing out. The systems and strategies that we teach, they work. They're handed to you. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're literally downloading documents and implementing them into your business. It is there for you. If time is holding you back, start small. If you have a half an hour a week to dedicate, do it. If cash flow is holding you back, if we can provide you in the course of an hour with the tools, the language, the confidence to bill clients for one more hour a month, your membership is paid for. And I guarantee that hour you're already working, you're just not charging for it or charging enough for it. One of the systems in our 20 musts was that insight is cheap. Learning is endless, but if you don't do anything with what you're learning, you're not going to see results. Action is what leads to results. So we're past all of our big events in terms of announcements. So I'm going to take this opportunity to encourage you to become a member. Reach out to me if you have questions. If you're already a member and you don't feel like you're making the most of your membership, I do calls all the time. I answer quick questions by emails and I get responses that, that one answer, even though it was already available within the courses, just that quick reminder or the quick answer that they didn't have to go and look up themselves made that month's membership worth it right there. So that is my pitch. Thank you to those who are listening, who have been listening to the podcast for so long. It was amazing to get to meet so many past members, current members, podcast listeners at High Point, and I'm looking forward to doing more live events in the future. But in the meantime, become a member, join us for our monthly BOD Live meetings, ask your questions. I am here for support if you need it, and I hope to see you within membership soon. Thanks so much.
Oh my God, you look fantastic. I'm like
Oh, thank
tidying up
you.
here as we speak. Wow.
I know. It sounds like you've been. It's one of those mornings, huh?
It's one of those mornings, but that's okay. It's one of those years. It's one of those decades, right?
Oh,
Um,
it's that bad?
um, hmm. Bad? No,
One of
no,
those decades.
right.
Sounds
Um,
pervasive. I don't know.
yeah, there is. It's
Okay.
interesting. I was listening to a really good podcast yesterday. Hi, by the way,
I
everybody. This is
know.
Helen Austen. We're already recording, as you know, like we just start. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, somebody I really like, Ezra Klein, and he was talking to an expert on attention. And it was about this idea of how frequently we switch our attention from one task to another and the interruptions that occur and the sweet spot between over attention on something and finding a good balance. And one of the things they talked about in the podcast was this pervasive idea that unless we're being productive all the time, the culture sometimes makes us feel ashamed, like if you're caught and you're playing two dots instead of reading an article on how to improve your business, you're a slacker somehow, and how kind of wrongheaded that is. So Helen, we jumped into the conversation. You asked me, I said it's been quite a decade. It's not bad. It's just
Good.
really, life is busy, right?
It is. I feel like, and also, I guess as we get older, it's like the wheel just keeps turning faster too, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
I
hard.
would say that that is true. I would also say that Helen Austen's one of my favorite people. I don't know.
Oh,
I've
you're
I've
too
known you
funny.
like a few years, maybe 4 years,
I
maybe
guess, yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. And
Mhm.
I love your story, how you came into this industry sideways in an
Yeah.
adjacent industry, and how you found yourself an interior design professional. And let's start there. Why don't you tell everybody how you got started and where you are now, and then we'll jump into the topic, which is fame and fortune and
Yeah,
celebrity
right.
through television.
I started as a professional organizer. So in 2011, a friend and I had started, I actually was co-owned a business with her. That fell through because she wanted to go into hoarding. And that's, you can tell, totally not like, if you see my life now, it's not my thing.
Ah,
Very good with the people in those situations, but it's just such an overwhelming thing. So
yeah.
anyways, I went off on my own, and gosh, at about the 10-year mark, actually no, 8-year mark, I felt like I could do so much more, and clients were asking for more. And so the thought of getting into design, like I kind of thought about it, but I waited until I completed. I know this is, and knowing this now, having been in this industry for a few years, I took like an online course in interior design, and it like barely scratches the surface, but it kind of gives you an idea. I got the idea real fast that this is a complicated industry. So that's when I found business of design. And so really quick, I think of myself as having gone to the University of Kimberley Seldon in some ways, because I don't know what part of my business has not been influenced or touched by something that I've either heard or participated in that you've offered. So,
That's
um,
sweet. Thank you.
yeah.
But I'm so happy you picked up on the fact that it's a complicated business, because too often I think people approach it in a naive way, like I did, which is this is going to be way more fun than what I used to do. But you had this career, right? Silly girl, which was in TV, by the way.
I
Hello,
thought
hello.
that too.
So it's all a circle. Yeah. But you were already in people's homes dealing with people. So
Oh, yeah, sorry.
maybe that's a bit of an advantage.
It
And
is.
then
It is an advantage, and my background is in counseling, so the ability to kind of connect with people and make them feel comfortable with me in their homes and working with them, I do that, lean that way pretty easily. And I just like people, and I like residential. I like working with them in that aspect. So it was kind of it was easy in a sense, but it is a very different industry, very much so. Like the clients are different, actually. It's like a
Mm.
small, minute population that still applies to where I'm at now with design as compared to, the people that I could work with as an organizer. So it's different.
Is it broader? Do you have more people that you're able to tap
I think it's more
into?
affordable. I think it's more affordable.
Organizing.
Organizing is more affordable, more accessible to the average
consumer is how I would,
Right,
yeah.
right. And how has the transition been then? Like, how has your interior design business taken off? Hey, did you know that 50% of interior design professionals aren't procuring at all for their clients? The reason? It's just too hard. But not with Daniel House Club. They make it easy. DHC simplifies your design business, offering everything you need in one place. No more wasting time managing orders. They've got it covered so you can concentrate on creating beautiful spaces. Plus, they offer some of the best trade pricing on top brands like Theodore Alexander, Jaipur Living, and Rove Concepts with flat rate shipping. To join, visit danielhouse.club and use the promo code BOD2024, all caps, for 50% off your first year of their Pro Plus membership. And for you longtime members of DHC, they want to reward you for your loyalty. Use the code PROFIT2024, all caps, at checkout to receive 10% off the value of your next order. Joining Daniel House Club is like Instacart for your interior design business. Experience how easy managing procurement for your clients can be.
I would say because it was going really well before interest rates were hiked.
Mhm.
Um, and then I think just like everyone else, so I don't really feel like I'm that unusual. It slowed, but also it gave me the opportunity to really make sure that I was accepting clients and work that I love. And I feel like the things kind of slowing down also helped me not to accept things that like I've turned down work, not actually because I'm too busy, because they're not a good fit, because I want to make sure that when right projects do fall in my lap, I have the time to actually commit to them and do them really well. So
I think
I
that's
don't
really
know.
hard for people to do, to turn when you're
It's
not
so
busy,
hard.
really hard. Like
It's
I've
really
got to
hard.
commend you on that. I guess is part of it that you have income coming in from your organizing side,
I
so
don't
that gives
organize
you
at all. I don't
you
organize at all anymore. I totally
bye-bye.
moved it. It's maybe been 2 years officially because I tried to straddle both industries, but people were too confused. You know how easily a consumer is just too confused. It wasn't clear enough, and it wasn't clear enough for me to get the kind of clients that I wanted. And so I don't organize at all anymore. I have one client that I probably I cross my own boundaries how I want with it, but they are my ideal client. I will still bend over backwards to do whatever I can for them. But officially, I do not organize, and I haven't organized in a while, and I'm really glad about that. It was so overwhelming at times. It's so nice
Right.
not to be in a dusty basement and dealing. It's a dirty, hard job. So anyone who hires organizers just know, oh my gosh, it's such hard work. I love this. And it's complicated in a different way, but it's so much better. I really love being a designer instead.
Interesting. It's one notch down on the glamour scale from
Oh
interior
yeah.
design, maybe. Okay, which
Oh
is
yeah.
hilarious. And then of course TV, which is a topic we're going to get
Yes.
into,
Yeah.
is like 1,000 notches up in the glamour
Well,
scale, right? And I'm being
I don't
sarcastic,
know.
of course. Right.
I don't
But
really know about that.
there's still so many people listening who think, I really would love to be on TV. How
Yeah.
can I make it happen? And for me, I fell backwards into my career in on being on camera. So whenever anybody asks me how I made it happen, the answer is stupid luck. I have no idea how to make it happen, but you made it happen. So talk to us about that. How did that
Yes and
work?
no. So my
Okay.
initial opportunity I did fall into, I can't remember if they went through like my contact page on my website. It was in 2017, like January. I'll never forget. It was either, I don't remember how I got the message, if it was a voicemail, whatever, but just being shocked. And then I have no TV experience. I do have stage experience. I used to want to be an opera singer in high school, and I was on my way, and I realized real fast I didn't want to do that. So, but TV, I felt, did you ever do any stage work? I feel like it's so different, right? You don't
I
have an audience. I can't like read if I can't tell, there are
know
people following me here. It's
you have
very,
to bring your audience, right? You have to
yes,
bring your
it's
audience to
so different. So I
TV.
had no experience in it. So the first time I did it, I was so nervous. And then they just asked me to come back. So it was Kansas City's NBC affiliate. They were like, we love it, come back again. And then
What
after
did you talk about? Just to give people an
I
idea of.
think I did paper organizing. It's just kind of
Oh.
embarrassing to think of now. It's
So
and
you mean
paper.
the stuff on your desk or?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, and and this is still what I do. You try to break it down to the most simple terms, and then I always have props. I'm big on props because that keeps me like I don't have notes, but that gives me like I go move from here, this, and this. Yeah, paper org. I can't tell you what my second one was. I don't remember. I think I'm well over like 80 like segments at least now, for the
Wow.
last, how is that, 8 years, maybe more. That's what
Wow.
I have on my YouTube, which no one looks at. And my son, who's 14, laughs about when he saw my YouTube.
Oh, I want to
He's,
look at it. Tell us
oh
your
my gosh,
YouTube
mom, I
channel.
can't believe that. Like, why are you wasting your time? Is what he said. I'm like, it's not a waste of time.
No, not at
It's just
all.
sitting there
Tell,
doing
what's
my
your
resume.
YouTube channel? Tell us your
I
YouTube
think
channel.
it's Helen and Co. Interiors, which is my handle for everything else.
Helen with
So,
two L's,
no,
Hellen.
no, it's not like the place. It's just
One
Hell,
L.
Helen. Yeah. Helen
Okay.
and CO Interiors.
See, I like
So,
you so much. I always want to give you two L's for Helen. Um, my first segment was gift wrapping, and I wrapped, I think, something like 132 packages for a 4 minute, 5 minute segment because I just wanted to make sure I was good enough.
yep, that's what. Oh yeah, that nails it.
Right?
I've
Yeah. And
done
they're
how
like,
to store gift wrap. That was a really popular one actually. So
okay, so you might have to get you might have to have some luck to get to get your first appearance, but I don't know if this is happening where you live. But in Canada now, it's almost exclusively paid appearances on local networks.
yeah,
So you would pay for the opportunity
yep,
to be on TV. So is
yeah.
that true for you
I
too?
do not pay. No.
Yeah.
Normally, what outside people think is that I'm getting paid to do it, which then I
Right.
say, no, people pay their paid sponsors to do it.
Mhm.
Sometimes they'll use my content with a paid sponsor. Like you'll see it run like a plumber, like something home related, and then they'll air whatever I'm doing with them.
Wait a
But
minute, like a plumber? Like nothing says high-end interior design like call
like a
Joe the
plumber, like,
plumber.
oh, I know it's not Joe the plumber, but I think it's up like because there are some plumbing, I guess, is probably good money. But they advertise a lot on those stations, so it is,
Right.
and it's morning television. So, the audience, I am well aware of, and I knew going into it that I just assume their audience, what are probably retired and stay-at-home moms or people who are watching
Mhm.
TV midday, right?
Yeah.
So making sure that my content made sense for that person has been largely what I did until actually a conversation I had with you when I was like, how do I make this luxury, in some way or make it more from my target client? And you said just the way you phrase things, you can give, you can do this, but with my clients, I like to do this, or in my experience, and with my clients, I do this. So
Mhm.
I've gotten a lot better at that. So I appreciate that hugely because that's something that I feel like helps me to use this content for my demographic,
Right.
which is not necessarily the demographic of the station or that time that these things are airing. So I try to
Right.
make sure I can garner it, and then share it on website, social media, things like that.
Well, that's a really good thing to think about. You're gonna, if you can get yourself this opportunity where you're on a local show, then it's not going to be up to the local show to make you famous now. It used to be back in the day, I used to have my face was on billboards and stuff, and the network paid for that. But that isn't how it works anymore. You're going to have to publicize yourself the same way that if you write a book nowadays, chances are the only way you get to write a book is if you have a huge social media following to begin with.
Mhm.
So you have to go into it not thinking that the end result is to be on TV, but the end result is to get the client. So, what are the things I'm going to do when I'm on TV to get the client? And what are the things I'm going to do with that segment after it airs to get the client? And if you lose that focus, you can end up being somebody who does a bunch of DIY on TV. I know a lot of designers, and I'm using air quotes, who do a lot of DIY on TV, but nobody's hiring a designer to come to their house and do DIY. That's just not a thing.
Exactly. They're not. Yeah. And that, you basically nailed it. That is how I view this now and how I make sure that this is still worth my time. Like if for some reason, like I can't ever garner the content and use it on my own stuff, I'm not sure I would continue to do it because it's a huge time commitment. I take it very seriously. Like I don't want to have bad appearances, but it has to be worth my time. So,
Mhm.
and so far it totally is. And I will say being on and using it properly does make you a local expert. It helps me to be that trusted local person who is good at this. And then one of the opportunities they do give me, and it's this my most recent show. By the way, I've switched shows many times. I don't know what your experience is like, but these shows, at least in what I call the big small cities or the large small cities, these like that we're not massive, but we're big city, right?
What cities are we talking about?
Oh, Kansas City. Sorry, I'm in
Okay,
Kansas City, which is
right.
Missouri. It's actually, I think the station's in Kansas. So it's a
Did you
two
say
state.
that so that we all wouldn't think it was in Kansas?
Huh? Yeah. Everyone thinks it is. That was an offering to my people who live in that area and get irritated when everyone thinks Kansas City is just Kansas. It is Missouri. I don't know why it matters, but for some reason in our heads it does. But I forgot what I was saying now too.
So in that golden triangle that you're in, these are cities that are big but not huge. They're kind of, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to make sound critical, but they're B-list
Oh,
cities.
they are, and
Yeah.
that's true. And so, one of the other things that I've noticed with them is that I think they are very eager for good content, though.
Mhm.
So, because they wanted me on weekly, like this recent show has been really great. The producer has been much more generous with allowing me to, when they end our segment, I already have a pre-scripted thing that they will read, and they'll read my website, and they'll put my website because sometimes this stuff wasn't happening. And I
Right.
also tried to be the easiest person to work with. I wasn't going to ask for a lot. I know they can get rid of me a drop of a hat. I've always just been like, how do I be the easiest person to work with? But
Mhm.
they've been really generous with that, and it's been really, really nice. But
Amazing.
they want content. So if for some reason, this is why I think there's a lot more people who probably could be doing this, but don't know that it's an option and don't know that, maybe you don't have to pay for it. And that's why I wanted to kind of talk about this because I don't feel like I bring that much special to the table. I just kind of started doing it over time and it kind of stuck. Like, I think I'm good. I'm not great at it. I make up words all the time. I make mistakes. I describe things backwards. And fortunately, the talent I'm working with will correct me and we'll just laugh and we'll move on. I mean,
Yeah.
I just it is what it is. And, it's not a perfect game. I haven't, my biggest fear is I'm going to swear someday on TV because I tend to have colorful language and I'm scared I'm going to
Yeah.
get so comfortable with people I work with because I really like them that I'm like, business Helen.
Yeah.
Helen,
No,
don't
it definitely
comfy.
happens. I've definitely sworn. I
I mean, I'm
once
so scared.
answered, we had a live audience, and a woman asked me a question. Her and her husband didn't agree on something. And I said, well, is he gay? And she said, my husband. And I said, yeah. And she said, no. And I said, well, then he doesn't know, does he? So of course you're right. And that was like a big thing. The network's like, oh my
Oh
God,
my God.
you
That's
can't
great.
say that. I'm like, too late. It's out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. They
You
actually asked,
know
they asked me to
what?
co-host because they needed some
Oh,
subs. And I said no, because I'm so scared I can't sit and banter. No, I'm like, I can't sit and
oh,
banter.
that's
I'm so
so
because I'm
fun.
scared I'm going to swear. That's my biggest fear. I'm
No,
like,
yeah,
I'm gonna get too
whatever.
comfortable. Then you're gonna be like, wow, that was a mistake.
No, no, no. I think you'd be great. You should definitely, jump on those chances. That's great. Okay, so you're thinking, I want to get on TV. You're looking for a local show, but don't underestimate. I know you said it was a morning show. Don't underestimate the power and the reach sometimes of these shows because sometimes they'll be playing at the gym and your
Yes.
ideal client is on the elliptical looking at your big face and
Yeah.
thinking, gosh, I do need a designer. And then maybe she sees a month later a picture of you in some, local newspaper. Ah, her again. I should give her a call. Like I have gotten really, really good clients from daytime TV shows. And in fact, some of my very best clients. And frequently they don't tell me right away that they watch me on the show because they're sort of shy about it. But it
Uh,
comes up later, like, oh yeah, I've been watching you for years. And I'm like, oh my God, why didn't you say? Because they don't want to admit to watching daytime TV or
oh, oh, I didn't think about
PVRing it or whatever. Yeah.
that.
So don't
That's a
underestimate.
really good
It's
point.
not exactly a bullet to fame and fortune.
Oh yeah, I don't know. People don't don't know who I am. Like, it's just something I do.
Right.
Yeah.
But it can be leverage, as you say, to make you a local expert and help you increase your profile, help you increase your rates. You can also test out talking points and see what works and see what sells. I've been on TV so long that I've just kind of learned what are the things I can say that's going to get my phone ringing. So
Mhm.
I know if we're slow and I want more consultations, the kinds of segments I need to do, the real design lesson segments I
Yeah.
need to do, like, and talk about horror stories and things that happened when they worked without a designer and boom, the phone's ringing like crazy. But if I'm talking about how to gift wrap for Christmas, no, no one's calling. So be strategic about what you talk about, really. And that's true if you're going to do a home show or a live speaking appearance as well. Same thing.
True. Very true. Yeah. That's good.
Has the TV, has the fame gone to your head, and has it increased the number of clients who've come your way?
I do think it has increased. I think it's really hard. It hasn't increased I don't think it's increased my ego at all. If anything, I feel like sometimes it humbles me more than anything. It's like, but
Yeah.
I do think it's helped with gaining more clients. What I think is hard, and maybe I'm wrong. I know that we can like find the data for this, but I'm not paying for that right now because I can't afford to. But like how you're getting your clients, right? Because I think people have multiple touches now, and which is really frustrating. Because when I first started in my organizing business, the way the world looks now didn't look like it did 12, 13 years ago. So they have multiple touches. They might see me on TV, okay, but then they like might need to see Instagram. They're going to go to a website, and then they're going to maybe go to Google Places. What are there's house? There's all kinds of like annoying things that how do you then when I ask a client, how'd you find me? It might have been a rabbit trail of like finally deciding after looking at all the many things that we're supposed to keep up with. So there's only one client that I know, no, and she thinks I was on a station I've actually never been on. She's like, I know, I saw you on Fox. I'm like, I've never done Fox, but okay, like
Okay.
let's try it.
Yeah.
I love her too. It's like I adore her. I'll probably work for her forever. And so no, it's been really good. Like I'm not gonna lie, like doing it has been really, really helpful. It's also helps me not to have so much imposter syndrome. It's helped me really come into my own and feel like I actually am an expert. I can describe the stuff. I'm always learning, and I'm also sharing the things that I'm learning while I'm doing television.
Well, you do invest time and effort into coming up with your segments and propping your segments, and then being prepared to give, smart ideas about your segments and all that kind of stuff. I found it also, I get a lot of calls from sponsors who are they're going to host an evening. Can I MC? So those are paid opportunities that frequently come out of TV, and you may not be thinking about those, or opportunities to write a column for a newspaper, local or national newspaper, those kinds of things. So there's all kinds of good things that can come out of it. And the trick is to get yourself on a show. Just start by getting yourself on a show, hone your message, figure out who you are. And as you said, make sure that they get your collaterals right. They have to promote your website. They have to promote how people can get in touch with you. Otherwise, you've wasted your time.
Exactly. And I have gotten myself so after my initial that initial NBC station, that show ended like a year and a half in. I had made connections of other people who were on frequently with me, not like with me during my segment, but like on the same time show. And a man named Burton Kelso, actually like a computer expert, I asked him, I'm like, how do I, because he was doing multiple shows. I was like, how do I do this if I want to keep, going, or if I want to do another station? And he taught me, he gave me producer. I did have like an in. He gave me the producers' names for other shows. And that's how I was able to jump to another network to where I'm at now. And they're on like their third or fourth show. So once certain producers got to know me too, that has made it easy where they do just reach out when a show ends and another one begins.
Mhm.
Um, but you can reach out on a contact page as well. So I also now I'm mainly in Galveston. I'm a two-city business. I call Galveston Island home now, but I still have responsibilities in Kansas City. So I literally every other week am going in between the two states and two areas. Originally, it was Houston. So when I wanted to expand to Houston as an organizer, this is pre-COVID, I actually went onto the contact page for Great Day Houston, which is a huge show in Houston. It's been on forever, very highly respected and very much more. I felt like it had a much bigger audience and much bigger, is it stature? I don't know the right word, than what
Hmm.
I was doing in Kansas City. So, and I just went through their contact page and I had a link. I had the video of some of the stuff I'd done. I gave them an example of a show I wanted to do with my bullet points. I'm going to talk about this, this, and this, and it worked. I was on three times before COVID hit, and then I lost contact with the producer. So, like, keeping these contacts are really important, is what I've learned as well. But you can do this yourself. You don't need, I've never had a publicist. And I have continued to do it a little bit based on how much time I have. I now am like an hour outside of like downtown Houston. So I don't really know if I'm on the fence about whether or not I try to get back on TV in the Houston area because that's the television we get on Galveston Island. But you can do this on your own. I know a lot of people who hire publicists, but that takes a serious budget. Like I do think, if you can video yourself just, describing how to do something and you're engaging or a conversation or an interview even with you now that you're filming this is the kind of stuff they just want to see that you're capable really
Hmm.
just having a conversation with someone because that's what I am doing. I'm just like talking to a friend about how to do something in your house. And that's all I come on and do. It's not like I rehearse or I'm doing something that's outside of who I am. It's just me talking to like a friend.
Yeah, that was one of a few pieces of good advice I got. One was don't read your own press. They'll say you're the best one day and they'll say you're terrible the next day. You look beautiful and then you look fat. If you don't believe the good stuff, you don't have to believe the bad stuff. So I thought that was good. And then what you just said, when you're talking when you're doing these shows, usually there's not a big live audience. So just talk to your best friend. Tell her what you think about this tile, why you love it, and how it's going to look great in her house, and how you're going to drink a glass of wine standing in front of it as soon as it's installed, and all that kind of stuff. And then the other
Exactly.
thing I would say is I never watch the shows that I'm on because I'll be so hypercritical of why did you stand like that? I can't believe you wore those shoes. That belt looks ridiculous. Like so critical. So I just do the show. I have
You
so
never.
much fun and I walk away.
You've never watched yourself?
Maybe when I was, when I had my own series and I had to watch it in the editing room, but no,
No.
because you become self-conscious and posing, and then you start, only being shot from this side with it. And TV's just not like that. You have to just,
You gotta go with it. Yeah.
there's so many times when I'm turned around with my back to the camera and they're shooting my ass, which is not my best side. So I don't want to see that in
Oh my
wide angle
gosh.
across my living room
I
screen.
watch mine. I think so I did a ton of public speaking in the past. Like, so I just like in that year, like I had a coach even. So you're so big on like watching, yourself so that you can improve, which is true of my opera days too. Like, so I guess it's been something that's been ingrained in me is that I hate doing it. I hate watching myself. Of course, I'm taking that content and doing stuff with it. I don't have my people doing it. It's just good old me. So
I
I
hear
have
you.
to watch it. I have to hear my voice repeatedly. I guess I've gotten used to it, but I don't know. I guess I've gotten better at not tearing myself apart quite as much because it is what it is at this point. So I just, yeah,
I think that's a freedom of age too.
it
It
is.
is
It's
it is
helped.
what it is. This is what I look like. During COVID, we did some episodes remotely for the show that I do, and
Uh,
I was in a bathing suit from the like breasts up kind of thing
oh
with
my
my
gosh.
like blubby arms in there, and I
I
was
would
like,
never opt into that. Okay. I
let it
would,
ride, baby. Let it ride. And you know what? The viewers loved it. I love
oh, that's
seeing a
great.
normal woman on the show. Anyway,
Yeah. See,
um,
that's what it is. It's so true. Like we want to see like real, authentic people.
give us
So
real.
reminding ourselves that that's what other people want to see. It's just like, okay, I'm just gonna be my messy, just average self, and it'll be okay.
Exactly. Exactly. One of the, apropos of nothing, during COVID, our neighbors in the country, their daughter is an opera singer, and we decided to go for a walk one day, and it was winter, a little bit of snow on the ground, and we're on this country road, and we hear this spectacular singing, this soprano voice. She was standing in the forest singing. She had her camera on, recording herself. And on the other end of her camera was somebody else who was singing also. So we heard this and we just sat there in little snow and this beautiful opera voice coming from the woods. I mean, it was incredible. It was so magical. I love that you're an opera singer.
I don't sing in the woods. I don't think I sing in
Try
the
it.
shower anymore, and that's just about it. No, I don't have any like I'm not a woodsy person. I mean, I might hike on a paved trail, and that feels good. That's about as woodsy as I would
If
get.
I could sing, I would make everybody stop and listen to me all the time.
Oh.
This is why I can't sing because I'd be, wait a minute, hear me sing, hear me sing. Insufferable. Okay, we like to end every episode with design intervention. Just great piece of final advice you want to leave everybody with.
Okay, so I have been thinking about this, and obviously for me, this is my advice to myself, which then I'll spin back to anyone else, is lately I've been reminding myself constantly to just be Helen, which is like just be yourself. I've realized through really great therapy and just age that I spend so many years trying to be something to everyone or whatever they need, or whatever, I think that will help them to like me, that now it is so much more important just to be me. And also, as an individual who smells inauthenticity on other people, like I don't want to be that to other people. So it's so much better. It's okay to be just who I am. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. And I think I'll live my life a lot better. I'll have better clients because if they want to work with me, that's great. If they don't, that's fine. We're probably not a good fit and it's not personal. That kind of, notion. So just be you. Like it is so much better than trying to be performative. Hence why I think, a performer back in my days. I was trying to accomplish something that it wasn't out of like, this is what I love to do. Hence why I don't do it anymore. But just be you and it'll be better for business. It'll be better for your personal life. It has bettered my entire life, but it is a mantra I have to remind myself when I notice myself trying to be performative in whatever way for whomever I'm with. So
Mm-hmm.
just be ourselves and just lean into that, like lean back into it and
Mm-hmm.
chill. Maybe I should
You
go sing in the woods. I don't know.
try, listen, try it. Maybe I'll sound good in the woods. I don't know.
Oh,
Um,
I like the reverberation from a shower. It makes me feel like maybe not that anymore. I haven't trained forever, so
oh, I suspect you
yeah.
still have some chops in that regard. I think being yourself is easier with a bit of age. And I think, you said you can smell inauthenticity. A lot of us can, and it can be something so subtle, but if it doesn't feel genuine, there's just a gut feeling it isn't right.
Right?
And you have to be willing to risk a little, right? Like you just have to be willing to risk a little. I have several things that I'm passionate and I love, several things I'm passionate about and that I love. And one of them is travel. So a lot of my Instagram is just me traveling for, no good interior design advice at all. And then the other thing is I love tequila. So that shows up a fair bit. And, at one point I thought maybe clients, maybe they think I have a drinking problem. I'm like, no. The clients who call me say, I know you like tequila. So, at the end of the project, I'm going to get you a really good bottle of tequila. And they do, which is great. So be yourself.
Right. Yeah.
It's so good to see you, Helen. It's so good to see you. Hopefully, we didn't get to see you at High Point, but hopefully, we'll get to see you some other day soon.
Absolutely.